Hello everyone and welcome back to the layout. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that on here in my layout I model Amtrak, and for the past 30 years, since 1992 when I got them, I've had a pair of Spectrum F40PH locomotives, Amtrak Phase III paint. Been kind of looking to upgrade to better looking models than what the Spectrum had. There's some issues which I'll discuss here in a little bit in this video, but earlier, actually last month, opportunity came up for me to actually upgrade the models to a pair of Rapido F40PH locomotives. The F40, there's been models of it around for a while now. Back when I was a kid, Lifelike and then Bachmann had models of it, and then Pacific Fest Mail, I think it was, is a brass company that did brass models. They had their model as well. Spectrum came out with their F40 in I think it was early 92, might have been late 91, I'm not sure, but I got mine in spring of 92, so it's been over 30 years since I've had them. Since then, better models have come out in plastic. I know Walthers, they had a model come out, but I always thought it kind of looked like it was missing some detail, that kind of thing. Kato came out with their F40s, although I think they had ditch lights on theirs. That was one of the things that I did not want on my F40s was ditch lights, because I model mid-70s to mid-90s, and granted by 93, 94, yeah, the F40s had ditch lights, but I never cared for the look of the ditch lights in the F40s, and plus it's like only a couple years of the 20-year time frame that I model, so it wouldn't really look good to have F40s with the ditch lights on them. So anyways, I've been keeping an eye on eBay for suitable upgrades to the F40s I've had. Around Thanksgiving, I found, I think it was Caboose Hobbies in Illinois, on eBay. They had some F40s that were at manufacturer's suggested retail price. I think it's like $225, something around there. Anyways, they didn't have ditch lights. They were DC models too, which I do DC modeling or control my layout, and you know, between that and the price was right. It wasn't, you know, outrageously high like some eBay sellers put on even used locomotives. And then plus, you know, past few years I've gotten those 3 SDP 40Fs from Athearn, which were highly detailed. And next spring, Athearn announced earlier this year that they're coming out with new P40s, so those other 2 locomotives of mine are going to be getting replaced as well. And so it was like, you know, everything just kind of came together at the right moment. It was like, you know, getting these 2 Rapido locomotives, it was just the right time to do it. Everything came together at just the right moment, so it was like, yep, it's time. So I couldn't pass the offer up, so I got both of these. They shipped, they came, ordered them on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and then they arrived yesterday, which is the 3rd of December, so it took a week to get here. Well, they shipped them on Tuesday, I think it was, and they arrived Saturday morning, so about 4 days, so not too bad. Of course, the post office is pretty busy this time of year, so so anyways, let's take a look at closer look at these models compared to the Spectrum models I've had for a little over 30 years now, and see how much improved these are compared to the Spectrum models, and then we'll take a look at some of the break-in runs here in the layout. After opening up the boxes, I examined the contents, and there is, in each F40 there was an instruction manual in both English and French. There's an exploded parts diagram, some stickers from Rapido. There's a small bag with some extra parts. One of them, I think there's like lift rings and different strobe lights, as well as I think it's an AC unit for on top of the cab, which I didn't see on the F40s until like mid 90s, so I'm going to be leaving those off of the F40s that I purchased. And then we get the F40 itself. The F40s are packaged basically just like Athearn did their SBP40Fs that I purchased. Take them out of the foam packing inside the box and slip the outer cover, or outer plastic cover, off of the plastic assembly that holds the F40 in place and protects it, and then it just pops right open, and like on the Athearn models I got, and then you can easily just lift the locomotive right out. I checked all 4 couplers on the locomotives, and all 4 were in gauge in the correct height for here in my layout, testing them with the coupler height gauge from KD. One trip pin I was a little low. I had to adjust that with the trip pin pliers that I've got from Micromark. That was no big deal though, so that's typical. It's like every other knuckle coupler I've ever had on this layout, I've had to adjust, so no big deal, but all the couplers are at the correct height. And turned the locomotive over and gauged all of the wheels. All 8 wheels are on each locomotive are electrical pickup, and all 4 pairs of wheels were in gauge, so everything looked good. So here's a comparison of the Rapido models on the near track and the Spectrum models on the far track. If you're thinking there's something off with the Spectrum models, you are correct, and it does not have to do with the way I'm holding the camera. As you can see here, when Spectrum did their F40s 30 years ago, the proportions of the car body itself were correct, the chassis was correct, but they mounted the shell slightly low on the chassis. As a result, the entire locomotive is actually shorter in height than what it should be, which is a shame because at the time it was a really nice model. It's looking a little bit closer at the 2 models. From what I understand, Rapido actually delayed the Phase III release of these locomotives when they came out, basically because they had made the striping slightly wider than what it should have been. Amtrak's red, white, and blue striping for Phase III were each stripe was 8 inches wide. Initially, Rapido had apparently made them 9 inches wide, which overall would have been only 3 inches wider. But Rapido is very, very serious about accuracy on their models, so they held off releasing them until they could get the paint striping corrected. The models I got are DC models, which means basically they run on DC track from my transformers, but they are DCC ready, so basically if I get a decoder I can put them into the locomotives and run them on a DCC layout. The detail is really good. Some of the early releases, some folks posted on YouTube, they said the handrails in the back were chunky. They look actually really decent to me, and especially they are plastic, but they are an improvement from the Spectrum handrails. Because the Spectrum handrails, as you can see, they actually put slots into the walkway or edge of the walkway to so you can put the handrails in, whereas the Rapido locomotives have them correctly mounted going into the top of the walkway instead of cutting chunk out. Being a DCC, or excuse me, a DC model, or DCC ready model, obviously I can't use sound on these locomotives. And the lighting is limited to directional headlights. Number boards light up even if you're both forward and reverse. And then also in forward and reverse you also have the truck lights over the front trucks underneath the cab that light up, which train crews use at night for when they're starting up the train to you know, see if their train's moving when they're starting up, or from a station or from in the yard. So beautiful models, a lot more detail. Cab interior is in there as well. Unlike the Spectrum models, there's no figures in here, which is fine by me, because that's one thing that always bothered me with the Spectrum models, is when I would run one of the locomotives in reverse, basically running them back to back on a passenger train, you'd have a pair of crew members in the second engine facing backwards, which do not look right. So, but so many details they've put into these models is amazing. They got the correct L5 oh wait, I can't remember the type of horn. P5LA horn, I think it is, or something like that. Anyways, so I don't have to replace them like I did on the Spectrum models. So they got all the roof detail, see-through grills on the and fans as well on the roof of the locomotives. Just beautiful models. Major improvement from the Spectrum models I've been running for the past 30 years. And even underneath, when I had the engines upside down in my hand to gauge the wheels, there's piping and stuff underneath that you aren't really going to see when these are running, but it's just so detailed that with all the accuracy and everything that they put into these. These are beautiful models. Get a close up of the fuel assembly. These are also the later phases of the F40s. The early F40s, the Amtrak had, I think it's like the first 30 or 40. I can't remember the exact number, but anyways, they had the battery and air reservoir or air tanks forward of the fuel tank, whereas the later models like these have them reversed with the fuel tank in the forward position. So on the Spectre models, I had to, basically the whole thing came off. That was another thing with the Spectre models compared to these, is the tanks and battery compartments are not accurate on the Spectre models at all. They're just like one generic assembly. You could flip it around to more accurately match a later phase F40, but still it just did not look right, because on the Spectre models they actually had, instead of the step coming down, it was an actual ladder, which might have been on the early models, but when you flip the tank around, it, there's not a ladder. The Spectre models have the ladder coming down. But so anyways, that's a look at the models. So let's go ahead and we're going to hook up a train of Amfleet passenger cars and take these around for some break-in runs. there you have it, the F40PH diesel locomotive from Rapido. Beautiful models. These are my first two Rapido locomotives. Actually, any rolling stock period of Rapido on my layout. I'm definitely going to be checking them out a little more often. I've loved the products that they've been showing on YouTube that they've been releasing. Only problem is a lot of the stuff that they produce is Canadian, which and some of it doesn't necessarily apply to or would fit into my era or layout. And the only thing I've seen of theirs other than these F40s was the turbo train that they came out with a few years ago. I saw one of those in the hobby shop over at the train station over in Indianola Avenue, and nice looking train. Only problem was the only route I could really justify running it on would be the Cleveland-Columbus or Columbus-Cleveland route, and so only running at about 12 feet. Can't, well, 24 feet if you count both staging yards, but can't really justify the money for a train that's only going to run that short of a distance. So, but anyways, the F40s, they're beautiful locomotives. I'm looking now to get a third one. They have some that they released in Phase II paint. I'd like to get one of those just to have a little bit of variety. Phase 1, 2, and 3, they were running all together. I've seen on videos up until the mid-80s, so having a Phase 2 mixed in with my train, as well as fits right in with the rest of the rolling stock too, so for my Amtrak trains. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely check out Rapido. They beautiful products, nice smooth running train locomotives, and like I say, they're beautiful locomotives. Thank you very much, Rapido. Welcome to the layout. Like I said, this is the first rolling stock of yours that has made it onto my layout, so hopefully in the future we'll have some more on here. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.